Oh, Hasbro, why do you tease me with this big astonishing X-Men Wolverine backdrop in the box? What up everyone, it's your boy Xmanny87 here bringing you another Marvel Legends video, and what I have for you today is the Amazon exclusive Marvel Legends Wolverine vs. Multi-Pack action figure review. Before I get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's go! So this battle damage Wolverine look is based off of the Uncanny X-Men issue 251 in 1989, titled Fever Dream, where Wolverine is savagely tortured by the anti-mutant extremists known as the Reavers, led by Donald Pierce, formerly the White King of the Hellfire Club. Wolverine starts to hallucinate about the past and future for mutant kind in his semi-conscious state. One of these visions included the arrival of the X-Men from the Savage Land. After Psylocke opens the Siege Perilous, Donald Pierce is furious at the loss of his prey as Wolverine ends up freeing himself from his X-shaped crucifix and was aided by Jubilee. Taking a close look at the head sculpt, and I don't know what it is, man, but Hasbro never seems to get the unmasked Wolverine heads right. I mean, just not a fan of this one at all. I mean, even this angry expression on his head sculpt says he's tired of getting bad head sculpts. It didn't come out right, man. I don't like it. There are some they did that were okay, you know. Nothing comes close to 100% though. Probably at least 70%, and that's being nice. But the hairstyle's pretty cool, like the bangs on the top there. And that's just taking a look 360 wise, and yep, that's it. Taking a look at the naked sexy Wolverine body, it looks pretty cool, man. I do like the battle damage look they got going here, and you know, you got the chest meat, and it's actually painted, not sculpted, and you know, I hate when they're sculpted on. Oh snap, he even got nipples. I did not notice that before until the lighting here. And yeah, the hair looks more realistic here. I will say that, out of all the other hair paint applications they did. He even got it on the pins right there, so that's pretty impressive. I like the blood marks you get there on top of the chest, and even right here on the lower abdomen. You get another one on his bicep right there. Would have been cool to see the chest meat all covered up here and maybe some down on his abdomen, but I think that would have interfered with the blood paint apps right there, so I can see why they did it. You know, the butterfly joints, even he has it right there. Oh no, wait, they got one right here, so you can see that the black paint hairs interferes with the blood. It's not that big of a deal, but he does have more hair coming towards the back, around the back I should say, and looks pretty cool. What would have been really cool if they painted hairs on the peg joints, because if you lifted his arm like that, you would have had armpit hairs, man. Come on, that's never been done before. Armpit hairs on a Marvel Legends? That would have been a first. But yeah, definitely would have fit this Wolverine, though. And he's got the claw hands already equipped in the box. So they're the thin ones, not the X-Force thicker ones, which I like more. And then you got the red belt. It's the brown costume that he has. Not going over articulation with this guy, as we've seen it a million times on this body. So we'll just get to the accessories. Now to take a look at his accessories, he comes with a battle damage head, and I gotta say, this is one of the better Logan head sculpts now. I really like this. I like how beaten he looks. I like the blood marks. I like that swollen lip right there. That's a really nice sculpt, so they got that off right there. I do like that. You know, you got the swollen eye right there. It's very red. So, man, this came out really good. This is definitely the winner of the head sculpts here, and I will definitely display this head on this Wolverine. Lastly, he comes with two closed fists, and again, you get the nice hairy paint apps on the hands. Arkady Rossovich, aka Omega Red, was created by John Byrne and Jim Lee, who first appeared in X-Men issue number 4, volume 2 in 1992. Arkady was known to be a cruel and violent man serving for the USSR's Spetsnaz in the early 60s and committed heinous crimes such as raping young girls, which led to his supposed execution. He survived a fatal gunshot to the head, triggering his newly discovered mutant abilities. Rossovich was forced into a Soviet version of the Weapon X program in order to become a Russian super soldier. The result of this experiment transformed him into the deadly cyborg known as Omega Red. He needs a material known as the carbonadium synthesizer, also known as C-Synth, to help stabilize his condition, so the implants he gained wouldn't turn against him. His quest for the C-Synth was thwarted by Wolverine, Maverick, and Sabretooth as they hid the material where Omega Red would never be able to obtain it. The lack of C-Synth took a different effect on Omega Red, which resulted in a form of vampirism to sustain himself. He hid in Europe to commit several murders, betraying his own government. Gaining the attention of both Banshee and Magneto, Omega Red was shot and captured by Banshee, who sought revenge for the murder of his associate. Returned to the USSR authorities, they now kept him in suspended animation and concealed his crimes. He was later revived by Matsuoto Surayaba, the leader of the Hand Ninja clan, and Omega Red now served him as a warrior. He was told Wolverine knew the location of the carbonadium synthesizer. His attempt to get the device led him into several battles with Wolverine and the X-Men. Despite getting the best out of Wolverine and other X-Men members, his victories were short-lived and his loyalty to the Hand faltered, such as his loyalty to the Soviet government. No longer affiliating himself with other crime organizations, Omega Red would later become a crime lord, posing as a businessman who remained consumed by his quest to find the carbonadium synthesizer. For powers and abilities, he has healing factor, super strength, endurance, stamina, reflexes, and agility, Death Touch, Siphoning Life Force, Invulnerability, Expert Combatant, and Strategist. He has cybernetic implants within both arms that have retractable whips protruding from his wrist that can extend to 6 feet max, made of radioactive carbonadium. This material has been proven to be more malleable than and almost as strong as adamantium. Taking a close look at the head sculpt, and I absolutely love this right here. We're treated to a new head sculpt and it looks freaking amazing. He looks so fierce. Red pupil eyes, that looks very menacing. When you get that eyeshadow, it adds so much to the expression. Wow. And the mouth looks really good too. The teeth are painted superb. You get these cybernetic parts that are sculpted across his mouth, painted in a nice pearl white color. So that looks good. You can see the tongue sculpted inside the mouth. And the headband, I love that they painted the Omega logo right there in white. We did not get that with the last one. So I'm happy that they did this. The hairstyle is the same as the previous one. They just added a new head on here, and you can see the red hair tie right there. And obviously this is the famous Omega Red body that majority of us love. I think is one of the best big guy Marvel Legends buck, if not the best big guy Marvel Legends buck. And I love the harness 100 times more than the last one, mainly because, it's painted. So you get this nice gunmetal painted silver, and you get some red bits right there. You get red on the top of the shoulder pads. The harness primarily is white, at least the suspender part. And you get metallic silver paint on the belt buckle right there. Then you got the arms in a white plastic. The gauntlets are a red plastic. The straps here are painted. The hands are red plastic. And you got the armored hand plating right there. That's painted in a pearl white color, so that looks nice. I just wish they had the Omega logo painted on here. They did it for the last one, so it would have been nice to have this painted on. It would have looked better. And we get the white boots, which I really like. And you got the knee guards right here, the red painted in the middle. Same feet as before, no change there, and you got the peg holes. Now for accessories, it comes with an alternate head, which was the same as the last Omega Red that came out back in 2018. So we just get that painted for this deco. Then he comes with 2 small tentacles that you could plug through his wrists. Then he comes with the 2 larger tentacles. So yeah, even though these tentacles are not bendable, they're still a lot of fun to mess around with. Now to go over articulation with Omega Red, his head moves that far up. Not much because the hair hinders it. It moves down that far, left, right, some tilting. The arms move up to a straight T-pose. They move down all around, but the shoulder might get in the way. The shoulder pad is pliable, so it's not bad at all. You got the shoulder swivel, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist swivel, and a wrist hinge. The tentacles don't rotate. The ab crunch moves that far down, that far back, and you got the waist swivel. Legs move that far apart. He kicks up that high, kicks that far back. Legs rock around, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and no heel to the carbonadium butt. Then you got his ankles that move up that far, down, and all around ankle rockers. Overall, I like this look way more than this one, and I prefer this look way more than this one. If you're looking for an Omega Red that's closer to his 90s look, then this is the one. I'm especially attached to this look more as it looked like the 90s vintage Toy Biz version I had when I was a kid with the white boots and all. And I like this brighter red color a lot more than this darker one. Don't get me wrong, I like the darker one, but the color tone is more consistent with this. because this one right here, when you look at the thighs down, it changes color tone. Don't you see it? Like the thighs are a lot lighter, and then from the hips up is so much darker. So it looks off right there, whereas this one, it looks very consistent. It's slightly lighter, very subtle. You can't really tell, but yeah, I like the consistent look with this one. Callisto first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 169 back in 1983 and was created by Chris Claremont and Paul Smith. Callisto's origins are unknown, although she claims the scars she bears are proof of how dumb a mistake it was for her to live amongst humans. Her greatest psychological fear is the image of the beautiful woman she once was. However, she's overcome that in the present. In her first appearance, Callisto kidnapped Angel and stripped him of his clothing, intending to make him her mate. Not a surprise since she dresses as someone who looks to be into some kinky shit like that. Storm rescued Angel and defeated Callisto in a duel for leadership of the Morlocks. Storm won, and her first order of business was that they would no longer kidnap and terrorize surface dwellers. Her and Storm would battle back and forth several times later. Storm would earn Callisto's respect eventually as she befriended Storm and convinced her to not give up her leadership of the X-Men after she was wounded during the Marauders massacre of the Morlocks. After the Siege Perilous, she did get her beauty restored by Mask before it was scarred. Callisto and Colossus became attracted to each other. Colossus has suffered amnesia with no recollection of his life before the Siege Perilous. She became a fashion model, and together they were happy until the Morlocks betrayed Callisto, nearly beating her to death under the influence of Mask. One of the Morlocks' healers treated her wounds, but they were so severe that this caused the healer's powers to overload, which killed him in the process and accidentally restored Callisto's scars and deformities. Callisto vowed revenge on her former followers for stealing her looks and allied herself with Mikhail Rasputin, Colossus's older brother. The two appeared to have perished when he used his powers to flood the Morlock tunnels. After M-Day, she lost her powers, but recently got them back. She joined the Krakoan Nation along with many of her fellow Morlocks. She was later recruited by Emma Frost for the Hellfire Company, formerly known as the Hellfire Club. A new battle brewed with her biggest enemy, Storm, where Callisto ends up dying, only to be reborn with her powers once again. For powers and abilities, Callisto is classified as a Delta-level mutant. She has enhanced healing, strength, reflexes, senses, sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. Callisto is a master tactician, huntress, and tracker who uses stealth and guile quite often, be it a particular circumstance or opponent. She is skilled in every hand-to-hand combat known and is adept to using knives along with gadgets she frequently employs. It's about damn time we get a Callisto figure. Back when they revealed this Storm, I just had a feeling that, oh, we're gonna get Callisto very, very soon, and I'm just surprised it took this long to get Callisto, but very happy as this is one of my top X-Men characters on my wish list for many years now. Taking a close look at the head sculpt, and my god, it's beautiful. This head sculpt definitely made this figure. I love the way it came out. I love the eye patch there. I like the way the scar came out sculpted, so you can see the details on that. It looks really, really nice. And with the scar, it's on and off with the comics. Like, sometimes she had it on one side, sometimes she had it on both sides of her eye, or sometimes she didn't have it at all. It all depends on the artist, so just having it on one eye doesn't really bother me. As long as the scar was present, I'm happy about that. I really like the dark lipstick too. That looks good. And the hairstyle too, and you get that nice comic blue shading. I really, really like it. I think they kind of overdid it with the blue shading though. I mean, it's might as well paint her entire hair blue, right? But hey, you know, it still looks good. I still appreciate that detail. You get the same getup with that punk rocker Storm. So you get the choker right there, nicely painted, same jacket, and the shirt is painted in orange, and you get like a tattered painted kind of pattern right there. So kind of wish it was sculpted, but you know, it is what it is. And on the back, you can't really notice it because this belt kind of covers it. Then we get some newly added parts right here with these studded bands, and they look good. The studs are painted in a metallic color. They are removable. They have them like at the elbow on the box, but you know, if you want some comic accuracy, put it right here on top of her bicep. Then you got the gloves right here, the hands. Oh my god, what's up with these freaking baby hands, yo? She's got the Deadpool baby hands. These are very tiny. Did they just put the freaking teenage hands on her? Oh, that does not look good. Oh man, yeah, because if you look at one of her other hands, you know, so much bigger. Look at the difference. So they messed up there. They should have gave her the more adult, bigger female hands. Here's the rest of the legs. Here's the belt I showed off before. And the back pockets. Legs are definitely on the thinner side, but that fits Callisto. I think this body was definitely meant for Callisto. And you got the boots here. Again, nice sculpts. And you got the heels at the bottom. For accessories, she comes with a butterfly knife and a throwing knife, and this is really cool. This is a first time in the Marvel Legends lines. These are a new style of knives, and I appreciate that. Then lastly, she comes with 2 gripping hands to hold her knives. I wish she had a storage slot for her knives, but you could do this to utilize some storage. Just kind of tuck them in the belt. Looks good in the front too, so I dig it. Now to cover articulation with Callisto, her head moves that far up, that far down, left, right, and it does tilt a bit. Her arms move up that far for a T-pose, down, all around, shoulder swivel, elbow swivel, single jointed elbows, the wrist swivel, and it hinges. Ab crunch moves that far down, and that's really impressive. This is probably the best ab crunch out of any Marvel Legends female figure, as that is a deep crunch, and it moves that far back. It swivels, it pivots, and it rocks around. The legs spread out that far. She kicks up about that high, kicks not far back, rocks around. You got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and oh, no heel to the Morlock butt. You got the ankles that move up that far, down, and all around ankle rockers. Silas Burr, aka Cyber, first appeared in Marvel Comics Presents issue number 85 in 1991, created by Peter David and Sam Keefe. Cyber served as Wolverine's commanding officer during his days in the Canadian Armed Forces during World War I. Cyber murders a woman named Janet, who Logan was romantically involved with. Logan goes on the attack as soon as he discovered that Cyber committed the murder. Cyber swiftly counters the attack as he gouges one of Logan's eyes out, severely beats him, and leaves him for dead. This is Logan's most traumatic defeat at this point in time, which resulted in psychological effects that created a subconscious fear of Cyber. Sometime after World War II, all of Cyber's skin, except for his head and throat, becomes fused with adamantium through some unknown means. Cyber resurfaces years later in Madripoor, where he interferes in the crime cartel of Wolverine's ally, Tiger. The two later battled once again, but this time Wolverine manages to overcome his fear of Cyber and defeat him in order to save Tiger's life. Cyber then seeks revenge to kill Wolverine and sell his adamantium skeleton. Unbeknownst to him, Magneto removed the adamantium from his body and gets distracted when Wolverine extracts his bone claws. The two get into a vicious fight with Cyber breaking Wolverine's bone claws on his right hand with a foot stomp. Wolverine is aided by Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler in his next battle with Cyber. Cyber gets the best of them with one swift strike, but Kitty saves them by phasing out of the room, which locks Cyber in, then is turned over to S.H.I.E.L.D. Cyber is broken out of prison by the faction named the Dark Riders, led by Cable's son Genesis, only to be eaten by a special breed of bugs that tore through his face, leaving only the adamantium from his skin for the faction to harvest. Later, he resurfaces in astral form and takes over the body of a young superpowered mutant named Milo. He teams up with Wolverine's son Daken to take down his nemesis once and for all. He eventually turns on Daken, but then Daken gets his revenge by leaving Cyber for dead. He recently joined the Slingers team as the new Hornet. For powers and abilities, Cyber possesses Berserker-like strength, being able to lift 10 tons. Healing factor, not as efficient as Wolverine since he wasn't able to regrow an eye after Wolverine clawed it out and required a cybernetic one. Retractable adamantium claws, each tipped with toxins, expert hand-to-hand combatant, minor psychic abilities to see the emotional color spectrum of his target's thought waves and can also use this for tracking. Psionic abilities, chemical secretion, and astral projection that can possess bodies. Alright, so Cyber here is one of those about-time figures for me. I've always wanted a Cyber figure, so I'm happy to finally have him. As you can tell, this multi-pack is making me very happy so far. And he's on the big guy Colossus mold. I love this mold. You know, he looks imposing. I think it's perfect for him. But there might be some scale issues you guys might have with the scaling here because he is taller than Omega Red. And in the comics, Cyber stands about 6'4" to 6'6", while Omega Red is 6'11", so clearly Omega Red is supposed to be taller, and here Cyber's taller. But, you know, if you go by that, you know, comics height and all that with the figures, it'll drive you insane. So I just prefer of how they were drawn in the art style, because clearly a lot of the art images that Cyber's in, he's freaking huge. He's no way in hell he's just 6'6". He's freaking huge. Now, you can always play with perspectives, so you can have him squat, you know, just to make him look a little shorter if you want, especially against Wolverine. He's gonna look good that way, you know. And now next to Omega Red, you know, now Omega Red's taller, but so it doesn't bother me. Ideally, he should have been on this body, but again, I like this body so much, it needs more love, so I'm happy that he's on this buck. So let's take a closer look at him. The head sculpt looks great here. He looks fierce. I really love the way it came out. Like the grin, the teeth, you know, the white pupils. Man, I like the shading. There's this two-tone blue decal they have here, so you can see some light shading on top of his head right here with a dark metallic blue kind of tone. Love the way this came out. The arms came out fantastic in this nice silver metallic paint, reused from Colossus and Death's head, so that looks good there. And then the hands are newly sculpted, so you can see he's got the adamantium claws coming out, so that looks cool. And on the other side, it's a different kind of stylized grip. And his entire outfit is in all blue. And again, you get that nice two-tone shading of light blue areas on top of the dark areas. So I really, really like this a lot. And these shoes are newly sculpted for this body, as the Colossus, Death's Head, and AOA Sabertooth have different shoes. This figure comes with no accessories. I wish he had a pair of closed fists or at least an alternate head, but the fists are more important. But you can swap them out and put the Colossus with Juggernaut 2-pack fist on there. The only thing is that the wrist is kind of large here, so you do get some gaps there. But if you're playing with the camera perspective, you know, straight punch like that, you're not going to notice it. Now to articulate Cyber, his head moves that far up, it moves that far down, left, right. His arms move up so you could get a straight T-pose, and down, all around, shoulder swivel, bicep swivel. You got the single jointed elbow, wrist swivel, and a wrist hinge. The ab crunch moves that far forward and that far back, waist swivel. Legs move that far apart. They kick up pretty high and kicks not much back. Legs rock around, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and no heel to the Cyber butt. You got the ankles that move up that far, down that low, and all around ankle rockers. Jason Wyngarde, aka Mastermind, first appeared in X-Men number 4, 1964, and was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. A founding member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Jason Wyngarde was the original Mastermind. He joins the Hellfire Club, where he became a key member of Sebastian Shaw's inner circle and was intended to be ranked as one of the Rooks. He was instrumental in the creation of the Dark Phoenix, ruining Wolverine's relationship with Mariko Yashira by casting doubts in her mind about Logan's past. He sought to wield the power of the Phoenix Force for himself successfully, this time against the new Phoenix, Rachel Summers. This led to a battle between both him and Rachel alongside her Excalibur teammates, in which they defeated him. He later dies of the legacy virus. His two daughters, Regan Wyngarde, aka Lady Mastermind, and Martinique Jason, aka the Goddess, have inherited his telepathic illusionary powers. For powers and abilities, Mastermind uses telepathy, illusion casting, mesmerize, chameleon, and is a skilled unarmed combatant. This look is based off of All New X-Men issue number 14, where he dons the black and red suit. Taking a close look at the head sculpt, and this is just great. This looks just like Jason Wyngarde. I love the mutton chops and the mustache connecting to the mutton chops. That looks so good. The hair sculpt came out great. And I gotta give a big thank you to the homie Irvin Young 31 on Instagram, as he hooked it up with this head from his extra figure, because the one I originally got was jacked up. I mean, he has like 3 slashes going down his face. It's like Wolverine slashed his freaking face out during shipping. And of course, the rest of the body is the same from the other Hellfire Club members, like Sebastian Shaw and Donald Pierce. So it's reused, just different colors. Gotta say, the black and red does look nice. It's one of my favorite color combos. So I'm not gonna go over articulation with this guy. You can always refer to my Hellfire Club review. And for accessories, he comes with the classic Mastermind head, and this looks freaking great too. They did a really good job here. Love the red underneath the eye bags. You can see how like swole they are. It looks like he never freaking got sleep. And the mustache is pretty cool. The hair sculpt came out really nice too. I like the sculpting on that. This dude is giving me Hitler vibes, yo. Even though this head doesn't go with this particular body, I did see my good friend Posable Productions. He actually did a really great job with a kit bash. I believe he took the Disney Plus Mobius body, a piece of the Kylo Ren cape, and the collar of the Black Panther cape, and actually like kit bashed a really good classic rendition of Mastermind. So while I'm not gonna go crazy, it would be nice for Hasbro to give us something like that one day to display with your Brotherhood. I mean, that would be really cool. But for me, I really just want to display this guy with my Hellfire Club. Now for some comparisons, here is Wolverine next to the X-Men Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave Wolverine. Here he is next to some Reavers, Lady Deathstrike, Donald Pierce, Skullbuster, and Reese. Here is Omega Red next to the Deadpool Sauron Build-A-Figure Wave Omega Red. Here he is next to Wolverine, Maverick, and Sabretooth. Here is Callisto next to Colossus and Storm. Here she is next to the Caliban Bath. Here is Cyber next to Wolverine. Here he is next to the only other figures that share the same body mold, Colossus, Death's Head 2, and AOA Sabretooth. Here is Mastermind next to his Brotherhood teammates Magneto, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. Here he is next to the rest of the Hellfire Club, Pierce, Shaw, Emma, Selene, and Jean Grey, alongside with a Hellfire Club guard. And finally, here are all the figures in this Wolverine versus pack all together. Alright, and now to wrap things up, I gotta give this box set a final rating score of 9.5 out of 10. I love getting major storyline pieces such as this Battle Damage Wolverine from Fever Dream that I can recreate through my photography. The Screaming Head was my only dislike of this set, but the damaged head is gold, and I applaud Hasbro's efforts in applying bloody paint apps on the head sculpt and throughout the body. 9.5 out of 10. Omega Red is a much needed, repainted update to go with his classic 90s look. Hooked on that 90s vintage Toy Biz nostalgia feeling, the paint apps are so much better this time around, and the brand new head sculpt is a win in my book. His last figure was a 10 out of 10 for me, and this one being better is 2. 10 out of 10. Callisto is one figure I was longing for. It's a beautiful head sculpt. The hair, eye patch, scar, dark lipstick all goes well together. My only gripes are the lack of arm range, as she needs more range there, especially for a knife throwing trait and baby fists. But her other accessories are a win here, introducing some new molds for her knives and not the typical Bucky Cap knife. My one wish would have been a Lila Cheney alt head to put this over the top. Still a highly desired X-Men character for me, and for a Legends female figure, an 8.5 out of 10. Cyber is the monster of this set. I absolutely love the two-tone blue deco as it's easy on the eyes. Yes, while he's mostly one color, it's very eye-popping still. The arms add to the visual appeal with that nice metallic silver paint. I love when a figure makes your eye travel, and as a photographer, I'm all about eye traveling. The head sculpt is so good and captures that grinning face, the face that I always picture when I think of Cyber. A pair of fists would have been nice, but the claws came out well done, and you can pose him choking out your other figures. I'm a huge fan of this body mold. My favorite figure out of this set, he gets a 10 out of 10. Mastermind is much needed for the Hellfire Club, and you already know how much I love that team. I'm surprised he ended up here instead of a 2-pack with Harry Leland. Wonder how they'll get him out now. The two head sculpts are great, and this more modern look fits perfectly with the rest of the modern inner circle as we get closer to completing the club. That's all I can really ask for with this figure. I care about team completions. 8 out of 10. All in all, this is my favorite multi-pack this year, adding so much to my X-Men shelf and filling in some gaps. I know this won't be everyone's cup of tea, but this is not for the average or cherry-picking collectors. This pack is definitely made for the hardcore and true X-Men fans such as myself. Now I kick it back to you. What do you think of this Wolverine versus multi-pack? Who's your favorite out this set? And what kind of versus multi-pack would you like to see next? Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. That was my review. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Link is in the description below. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the pics at the end of the video. See you on the next review. Peace, peace. Now, for a bonus comparison, here is Naked Sexy Wolverine next to the one, the only, Naked Sexy Sauron!